Hi Cancer, welcome to Yellow Card No Tarot with me. My name is Carole and this is going to be a general reading for you for January 2026. If you're coming back for another reading, I want to thank you and I hope you've subscribed. It really helps my videos get out there. And if you are new, I would love to know, so comment below and tell me that you're new and you found my channel. So we're I had some struggles with this reading for January. It just wasn't coming to me what I wanted to do. Had a few ideas out there, but I just couldn't solidify it. And so about a week ago, there was a snowstorm here, and it was really, really windy. And it almost felt like my house was shaking, and it felt like things were rattling on it. And at one particular point, it got so loud that I swear somebody was ripping something off my house. And it felt like, they were tugging and tugging. And my cat was so scared. And I was just like, what is going on? But I was too scared to go out and look. So it died down after that. And the next day I woke up, I looked out the window. And I noticed that in my backyard, and I have an acre property, so it was way in the corner in the back. And I looked at it and I went, that's snow. It's just a piece of snow that's fallen off of something. And, I sort of knew it wasn't, but I was trying to not think about it. And then I looked at my neighbor's house because I thought maybe this thing came off his house. And my neighbor's house has black trim. So no, it didn't come off his house. So I was like, I think this is my house. So sure enough, I went out and looked at my front of my house and there was a piece of fascia missing. And so it blew from the front all the way to my backyard where I could see it. So I knew that that was like a random incident and there was a message there for me. And so I'm a shamanic practitioner. Some of you may or may not know. So I live in the world of shamanism, and the world of shamanism is everything is alive. And so I know that I can connect to that piece of metal that's sitting back there. So I grabbed my rattles and I went back and I started rattling, and I had asked, before I started rattling, I asked it, what are you doing here? What's the message for me? And right away I heard, I couldn't stay there anymore. And I thought, oh, okay. So I brought that inside and, I was thinking about a lot of what I've been going through, and I've seems to be doing a lot of little shedding of different things I've been working on. And this was still when this happened, I believe we were still like in December 2025. It was just, like a week ago. And so I knew it was like, it was a message that I couldn't bring something or someone or some situation with me to 2025. It had to be cleared up, had to be healed. And so I thought that's a great, once I got through it with my own stuff, it was just like, that's a great reading for January. There's my reading. So I want to look at, and I call this reading, I couldn't stay there anymore, couldn't stay here anymore, whichever one. But I wanted to know, what situation have you been in for too long? And it's like, it's time now to let it go, whether it's a situation, an addiction, a habit, maybe some health, something to do with your health, emotions you've been sitting with. Maybe some of you are in depression or grieving. Maybe there's relationships you need to walk away from. What is it that you're sitting in for too long? And you'll know what it is. And then I'm going to look at what's blocking you from moving on. So I'm going to look in your unconscious for that final piece of what is it you need to heal here. Let's get right down to it. So that's going to be something from your childhood or your adolescence, right? So we're going to do a little bit of shadow work in part 2. And then part 3, I'm going to ask for some advice from the tarot. And that's really going to specify, solidify, I think, for me, where we're going, what you need to focus on. And then I'll also leave you with a video or a playlist at the end. I may mention it. Sometimes I forget, but I will do it. I'll leave it, and that's taken from my other channel, Carole Cares. And that will really help you with what you need to work on, whether it's journaling or grounding or processing your emotions or dealing with a particular emotion. And then I'll also pick a spirit animal for you. And that's a nice message for you to as a final message from spirit. And I will say that I myself, because I'm a shamanic practitioner, I have power animals that I work with, and in particular is one that I have. It's my guardian spirit, and it's the one that's with me all the time. I don't have to journey to it or get out my rattles to speak to it, or it's just always there for me. And we all have a guardian spirit from birth, actually. And so if you're interested in any more about that, or maybe thinking that you'd like me to retrieve that for you, there's a link in my description box that will take you to a free 15-minute free consultation. And it'll take me to my website, actually, my website, carolecares.com. And on that website, you'll see the page that'll take you to is my shamanism page. And there's a button there near the end for a 15-minute consultation. And it's all free. You talk to me on Zoom. You can talk about a healing or talk about a power retrieval animal. A power animal retrieval. I said that wrong. Yeah, and then there's no pressure at all to go any further if you don't want to. So it's all up to you. But that's there. And I also do personal readings, tarot readings. So there's a page as well that there's a link below as well on my website, and it'll lead you to that. So let's begin with your reading. I want to know what situation has Cancer been in for too long, and I'm going to start off with the Tarot of the Abyss and clarify that with the Radiant Rider-Waite. So let's start off with one card, please, for Cancer. Almost wanted to come out. There we go. You have the Hanged One, which is the Hangman. I was staring at it for a bit because I wanted to make sure it was in an upright position. Start off with a Major Arcanum, which is a big energy for you right now. What's blocking you from moving on? Tower card. Wow. Now that's in your shadow. That's in your unconscious, right? So that's your childhood, adolescence. That's a big one to get for a major energy, but we'll talk about that. Major Arcana card. And finally, some advice from the tarot. That one did not want to go back in. And there's a Star card right there. I'm going to put that in here, sideways. So your three cards are three big energies for you. Three Major Arcana cards. Now, let's take a look at, I'm going to start off with, I'm going to do the Spirit Animal card first. Oh, there's too many here. Actually, the one that showed up was this one, so I'm going to pick that. Turned up. 53. Okay, so we're going to start off with the hanged one right now for what situation you've been in for too long. So the Hanged One is the Hangman, and that's what you start off with where you're sitting right now. Now the Hangman can mean a few things. For example, it could mean that you're sitting in a position right now where you're just not willing to see something in another perspective. So you have a certain perspective on a situation or a person or something that's going on in your life, and it's like, I don't see how this can change, and I'm not willing to change this, or I don't want to change this. And maybe you're feeling stuck in a particular situation. You're just not willing to look and see this, that in a different perspective, that this can change for you. It also can mean that you are sitting right now where you're not feeling comfortable in your own skin, maybe, right? So I'm feeling like it's the first thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for some clarifiers here to give me, tell me a bit more about maybe the perspective about the situation that Cancer's sitting in right now. A couple cards to clarify this. There's one. Two. Okay, so you have the Ten of Swords in reverse and the Queen of Wands in a sideways position. So the Ten of Swords, first of all, speaks about, swords is all about our mental thoughts. It's the mental body. So it's our mental opinions that we have about ourselves, what we think about ourselves. In this particular case, this is, these are all the things in an upright position. If you think about this, all of these things right here, the things that you tell yourself about who you are. And they're things that you've picked up from childhood. So let's say, for example, you've been told all your life that you're lazy. Well, you're lazy, or you're stupid, or you're not smart enough, or all the things that you've been told about yourself when you were younger forms who you think you are. But look what it's done to you now. It's come down to a point where this is very, very heavy. I mean, you have defined your life and who you are around what people told you you were, right? Because when we're really young, we're like a sponge, right? We take all this in. And so I'm going to say, you're not willing to, I mean, this is in reverse. And so it's like, it's done you in. So I'm going to say it could be that you're sitting in a place where you don't see another perspective. So the perspective you see is only what people have told you you are. And you don't see that, you have convinced yourself your whole life that this is who I am. And you don't see another side to this. Because the Queen of Wands is here again, here right beside it, and it's in sideways here, but an upright position. The Queen is our feminine side. We all have a feminine side and we all have a masculine side. And it has nothing to do with our gender. But the feminine side has these beautiful qualities. And the feminine side in particular, this one has a wand, this Queen. And so the wand talks about our creative direction, our creative purpose. And when I say creative, I don't want you to think like, everybody's got to be a writer or an artist or what. It's just putting yourself first, having a purpose. And so I think you have doubted for so long now that you even have a purpose, that you're even good at anything. Because this is what you're telling yourself, I'm good at nothing. Because people have told you that when you were younger. I'm good at nothing. And so I think for a long time you've convinced yourself that you don't have a purpose. And, oftentimes when we are in that place, and I know where that is, where we just say, what the hell am I on this earth for? Why am I here? And so I think that's where you're sitting right now. But the universe the Queen is here to say, you have this purpose. There is a direction for you, but there's not one part of you that wants to even believe that. And so you have the Tower coming in here for what's blocking you from moving on. And so when you were younger, child, an adolescent, there's a major change of circumstance for you in your life. Whether it was one incident or whether it was many, there is something I'm going to say that radically changed your direction in life. And that could be anything. It could be something to do with your health. It could be something to do with, your career. It could be anything, or just your environment. There's something that happened to you when you were younger. Maybe you know what it is and how you were raised that changed your direction. You were supposed, because when we're born into this world, we know what our purpose is. But because we're told differently all our life with these swords right here, you can't do that. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. Well, we off on different tangents, right? All our life. So, we're always going in the right direction, but sometimes it takes us longer to get there. So can I have a few more cards here to clarify the Tower? Give me a bit more information about this Tower card and what it means. Well, yeah. You got the Three of Swords and then the Temperance card. So the Three of Cards talked about there's something that extremely painful that happened to you when you were younger. Very, very painful. And the Temperance card said, you know what? Normally, the Temperance card can be interpreted as middle ground, but I'm going to say I also see it as, when I look at that water to me in a card speaks about emotions. And so I think that when you were very young, you learn that emotions was just something that you had to put away because you were too young. Whatever it was, you had a lot of emotions that came from this pain, and you learned to put them away. And Temperance speaks about, just a little bit at a time, but you've put them away. So yeah, I think the reason why I'm going to go back to you sitting here in this position here where you're stuck, where you don't see another perspective, where people have told you all these things about yourself and you believe it. Because what happened is, in order to change that perspective, it's going to take you to get in touch with some of your emotions, right? Especially when you've been told all your life that this is you and it's not you. And maybe you're starting to realize that it's not you. But there's a lot of emotions like grief in there, being told that you're not allowed to do something all your life, feeling like you don't matter. And whatever it is around this Tower situation, you didn't have the support when you were younger to deal with these big emotions. And right now, when you're asked to deal with this situation of, looking at this in a different perspective, well, you're very much used to just giving up. And so that's what you're doing. You're just saying, well, I can't touch this. I can't touch these emotions. Because maybe in order to touch these emotions, you have to go back to this Tower incidents that happened to you. And that's what you got to go back and look at. And it's just like, I can't go there. I can't go there. So the universe really wants to bring, the advice from the tarot was that the universe really wants to bring the Star card here. This is all about healing. Right now it's sideways here, but because I think that, it wants you to pick up this healing card, right? And maybe you're feeling that, you know what? Maybe I got to go back to this. Maybe I got to go back to this Tower moment here. Because I did say that we're going to look at this and we're going to finally get to the core of this. And so what is the core of why you whatever situation you're in right now, and you not wanting to see a different perspective, well, it's because this is probably going to bring you back to this tower moment. It's not something you want to look at because it's very painful. But remember, you're an adult now. You had to face this when you were a child, and you put all those emotions away. And now it's time, the universe is saying, well, there's some healing near here that has to take place around this incident. So can I get a couple cards for the Star card? Yeah, the Three of Pentacles is here and the Six of Cups. Three of Pentacles is a card that talks about getting some support. Co-creative card. Number 3 is a co-creation, working with people together, putting your heads together. And so it really wants you to heal around this tower moment from your childhood. And maybe you need to go to therapy. Maybe you need to go back into therapy. Maybe you need to... oftentimes we swear off of therapy. We say, maybe you've been in and out of therapy all your life and you're saying, no, I don't want to do it. Maybe your therapy can take a different type of therapy. I know myself, I have a trauma life coach that I've had for 8.5 years, who's like a therapist to me. And then for the first 2.5 years of my intensive healing, I had body work. In particular, I had craniosacral. So, you know, maybe you can get some sort of body work done. Maybe you, if you've been in therapy, maybe try doing some sort of somatic healing, some body work. Shamanic healing is another way to go. That's a beautiful way of healing. So I would, you know, encourage you maybe to, you know, get a new perspective on this. And maybe, like, it's asking you right now to get a new perspective. You know, maybe you've given up on healing because it's telling you now you need to look at it again. You know, let's look at healing again. And then the Six of Cups is the last card that comes, and this is a card about childhood. This is a card about your inner children and what sort of emotions they hold. It can be a card about your memories from childhood, right? And so I think there's some things here that you need to go back to your childhood, and we're talking about healing. Healing some things that particular incident, things that happened to you when you were a child. And that's what's going to be very important for you to move on going into 2026 is get some big healing here that you're being asked to look at. And so let's look at, well, I am going to leave you before I get to your card right here. This is definitely about healing and emotions. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave you a video on, it's either a video or a playlist, I'm not sure, on processing emotions, right? And that will help you out for sure. How to process your emotions. What does that mean to process emotions? And I go through that in the video. So you have Seahorse Spirit. Watch and wait. Hovering gracefully, the seahorse observes with the perspective of one who is not engulfed by the drama, remaining at a distance from all the turbulence. Seahorse Spirit appears at this time to remind you of the need to be neutral and gain perspective. There's the perspective word that's coming up here. Your message from Seahorse Spirit is not my circus, not my monkeys. Spirit wants you to know that even if you are tempted to jump into the fray and try to fix things, the best way to serve yourself and others right now is to remain calm and simply watch and see. Seahorse Spirit asks you to step back from it, be willing to explore things from different angles, rather than a single one, and just observe what is possible from the perspective of the position of the neutral observer. And this is where you're going to discover many opportunities and a deeper understanding is what it's saying, right? So it's asking you to get still and go through a period of stillness and become the observer and to see things in a different perspective as well. All right, Cancer, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, but it's the most important journey of your life. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.